This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up, Effective Communication, the show focused on elevating our communication skills here in the auto repair industry. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, and with me today is my friend, my guest, Darren Mclea from DJM Solutions. Boy, thanks for being with me, Darren.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. I miss you. I'm glad we're doing one of these again. Good stuff.
We got together years and years ago working with AutoFlow. Then Auto Text Me. You had your 5-store group up there in Santa Rosa, California, right?
Yeah.
The other side of the bridge from San Francisco. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, just north.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome time working with you and your Uncle Rick.
Yes. In fact, I'll be talking to him on the phone right after this today. Yeah.
Man, tell him I said hello.
I will.
We need to reconnect sometime.
Yeah, he'll be excited that you and I were hanging out today.
Oh, no. Rick used to bust my balls on the recording back in the day. And it was always good. I appreciate a guy who can go deep into the reports, draw outcomes and conclusions. But man, the topic for today isn't reports. It isn't AutoFlow. It isn't Auto Text Me. No, our topic today is based on a conversation me and Darren were having after a social media post was put up about a micro generation called Zennials. It includes those born between 1977 and 1983, the year I was born, 83. And Darren, you were 1982, you say?
82, yeah.
82, so right on that bridge as well. But yep, so this is bridging the gap between Generation X and Millennials. Now, Darren, I've always called this my spot in this generation, right on the cusp. I always identify myself as an elder millennial.
I saw when you sent that to me. I found that fascinating.
Yeah, I think a comedian coined that term. I'll have to look it up again. But we were there for the transition from the analog era as we moved into digital adulthood was the topic in the post. And I love that post because there was a picture of a VHS tape in the picture. And it's like, oh boy. That'll bring
Remember
you
those?
back.
Remember those? I used to love renting those at Blockbuster. That was a happy Friday night right there.
It sure was. Yeah. So in this episode, we're going to go into this topic a little bit more. And I think there's some interesting takeaways from this. Now, with every episode, we do a word of the day, and I had to pick this one for today's word of the day. The word of the day will be posterity. Posterity. And as always, we'll define the word of the day for you after a word from our sponsors. Looking for something meaningful? The Institute's coaching helps you leave a legacy, empower your team, and contribute to your community. Discover more at wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. AutoFlow is your partner in technology. With AutoFlow, enhance your client interactions in a single thread before, during, and after the visit. To see how AutoFlow makes it simple, visit AutoFlow.com. Are you tired of juggling multiple tools to manage your auto repair shop? Say goodbye to the chaos and hello to streamlined efficiency with AutoLeap, the #1 all-in-one auto repair shop management software. With AutoLeap, you can sell more, save precious time, and delight your customers with every interaction. Your trusted companion, ShopDog Marketing, is right by your side, attracting the best customers and building long-term growth. Call ShopDog Marketing today, or visit shopdogmarketing.com. Cover your communication need and revolutionize your auto repair business with AI-driven call analytics from Inbound. Explore more at callinbound.com. All right, and we're back. I have my friend Darren Mclea here. We've introduced a word of the day, posterity. Posterity, simply defined, is something for all future generations of people. Not always what people use the word posterity for. But I have to use it in a sentence here. I think about technology. I think of the transition of technology that our generation, these elder millennials, these zennials, whatever you want to call it, people like us, right, Darren? What we experienced. There's what we experience, and then there's what we give and pass on for the next generation. And boy, it's changed a great deal. That analog era that we grew up in wasn't so bad. It was actually pretty good. I kind of miss it sometimes. And I think that getting a little nostalgic as I think about this topic. But what were some of the things that defined our childhood?
You know, when I put this out there and you saw it and reached out to me, I've been looking for someone who wanted to talk about this topic with me because I've always kind of thought this, but I didn't even know that there was a definition for it until I saw that videotape with that description. And as I just think of these little things, I think one of the things that defined us, at least I know for me when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones, obviously. There was not digital trackers and tags on our backpacks. So when my mom told me that I had to be somewhere to get picked up by somebody else at a certain time, I had to be there at that time. There was no fallback. Hey, 5 minutes late, track me here, I'm there. Like when we were told we had to be somewhere as a kid, we had to be there or you were going to miss the bus or you weren't going to get picked up or you're supposed to meet someone somewhere at a certain time. If you're running late, you miss them. And then it's like, well, now what? Go back home and call them on the phone?
Thanks to the technology available at the time, it just simply wasn't accessible. And even payphones, yes, payphones were a thing. I still, as a kid in that era, didn't really use them. They were in sketchy places that my mom didn't allow us to go on our own. It was probably already bad news if I'm using a payphone somewhere.
I'll share with you, I had to use a payphone a few years ago, about 4 years ago, maybe something like that. We went on a camping trip and where we were going, no big deal. I didn't realize we wouldn't have cell phone reception. So I get out there. And when I realized there's like SOS, no reception, this is on a Saturday. I know that my stores, typically if people call in sick or there's issues, they have to call me and I have to assist them if I can. Not usually, but things can come up. So when I'm out there with no cell phone, I'm like, well, now what? Like I got to call someone as a backup. There was a payphone at the campground that I went inside and my kids are looking at me like, what are you doing? And I had to put quarters in there.
You had quarters?
Yeah, I did. And I said, hey, Dad, I'm at the campground. No service. You're on call tomorrow. Sorry. But I had to find those resources. How do I communicate? Because you're right. There was that void back then. And I got that little piece of it, what it was like, as recently as 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago.
That'll pull you back. Yeah, campsites. That's it. That's interesting. Yeah, find those resources. I would have to find some coins, man.
But here's the thing. They're coins, so they're always there because I'm not using them that often. So they're always available.
That's probably a good point. Yeah. What you mentioned in your post is what really had my mind going to. You researched this. You said you went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and you said my favorite part that I believe is the blend of Generation X's skepticism, and then you have millennials' optimism. Embrace but always question. That's interesting that some of the technology we grew up with would actually become a element of this. And you said millennial optimism, and I was thinking, man, I feel like the most pessimistic millennial in the world, and that's probably the fact that I'm right on that cusp of all this stuff.
I think you're right.
One of my friends, Sarah Fraser, she's a member of our Toastmaster Club and one of our officers as well. And she does a lecture on generations and talks about a lot of the different experiences that go behind making generations not the way they are necessarily, but certainly the way they're perceived at large. And even within the comment and your feed, I noticed some people saying, hey, these generation stereotypes, they don't always fit. And that's true. I get it. They don't always fit. But I think the general idea of these things, it's shared experiences. A group of people, thanks to the technology in society that you have a shared experience with the things. And that does make us similar.
I like that you say that you're pessimistic because I don't think you're a pessimistic person. But I believe, what you did, at least for my company back then, was there was a lot of analytics. There was a lot of data to it. So I think going into it, I think you always seem like an optimistic person to me, but I think it's not pessimism. I think you are just always questioning like, hey, here's the data. This is the picture. And it's telling us to go this way, but where did this data come from? How did we gather it? And is it correct? Let's at least question it and fact check it and do the real world research to say, yes, case by case basis, I took the time. This data does match what I see in the real world. So therefore we can trust it and make decisions going forward.
Yeah, it's trust and decisions that go right into this. Like growing up, I was always told, hey, buy a home early. And I did. I bought a home early. Thanks to working in a transmission shop, I bought a home when I was 19 years old. And that was great. And that was in the year 2004. And you know what happened in 2008 and 2009. The bust that occurred there, that was contrary to the narrative I was told and brought up with. That was that houses always appreciate in value. And so there's a scary couple of years there where like, wait a minute. It lost $20,000 in value and everybody else is going bankrupt. just stayed with it. Of course, it got better again, and things have like tripled now. Oh my goodness. But what I'm being told by the future generations doesn't quite translate. It doesn't quite translate to me as necessarily being true all the time. And there's another narrative right now. And I feel like this is why like this topic really speaks to me right now, is like there's something on my heart. I'm a technology guy. People recognize this. They've heard me rail against AI a few times to maybe cause some question on this. But I feel like for posterity, what we're giving our kids for their future, this technological world, is it actually improving their experience? Is it even giving them a shared experience? Or is this idea of sharing, because we have this web of connectivity now, like it's so dispersed that it almost doesn't even feel like sharing? You could become anonymous and isolated within this massive web. And I feel like, gosh, dude, I feel like we were raised at this perfect point of technology where we went outside still. We engaged this stuff. We watched a VHS, and that was the only thing this whole group of people could watch. There's one screen in this home, and anyone that wants to watch it, we're going to watch it. And it might be a VHS was a good thing because you could actually pause those, but the live TV shows, there was no DVR. There was nothing to record that stuff. Oh, it was so good, though, to have that one shared experience. The commercial breaks weren't a problem. You go get your snack.
I just want to bring that up real quick, the commercial break thing. I'm with you there. Maybe it's because I'm a cheapskate, or I hate looking at all the streaming services we pay, but we have the Disney Plus, and I do not pay for the ad free. So yes, when we're watching Iron Man 2, right as something big is about to happen, bingo, we've got 3 minutes of commercials. And I'm okay with it because I go, you know what? As we're sitting here watching this movie, that's the moment where we stop and go, oh, and we look at each other. Good movie, huh? Hey, let's go make some popcorn real quick. Like it's almost like I have that 80s flavor back to it, even though it's a movie. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save money. And it allows me to interact and recoup and talk about what we just saw. It's a little distracting, I'll be honest. But what TV show wasn't like, oh, what's going to happen? Is he going to fall off the cliff? Dun, dun, dun. Commercial. Come back to see what happens after the commercial. It's the same thing. I love it. It's a little bit of nostalgia. It annoys my kids, but we interact again. We interact while we're sitting there watching a movie. So yeah, I love the commercial thing.
It's like a great pause in a speech. Even though you're having this really great point that's being made, that pause. And mind you, I don't listen to commercials. I typically mute them.
Sure. My grandpa always did too. I said to my wife, my grandpa used to mute the commercials all the time.
Yeah, you had this thing because you're looking around at each other, and it slows down the pace. And that's why I keep going back to this concept of like the way we did have it, even the cell phones that did come out when I was starting to drive. My mom made us get a cell phone, right? Had the extra battery on the back. It could probably last 3 or 4 hours if we needed to. Had the antenna that pulls up, it flips open, and it can call. And if you wanted to text, I think that it was the infancy of text messages. It would take like 5 keystrokes to write hi because H is like the 4th letter in the number 5 key or something, if I remember right. I couldn't even tell you now. But like this was an old technology that was slower paced, but it served a baseline function that solved an immediate problem of not having to go find a payphone and being out of touch and hurrying someplace perhaps unsafely in order to not cause people worry. Now, I look around and these smartphones have dominated every interaction that we have. My kids, I made the mistake. I say it's a mistake of letting my kids have it. It was around 13, I think was when my youngest had access to it. And I regret it. I think I would have preferred to wait longer. And I'm kind of curious if you've allowed your kids to get into the cell phone and at what age that was permitted.
So both my boys, who are 14 and 12 now, they got them when they were 9. I'm 4 years ahead of you. But I did recognize even when they had them, there wasn't, to them, I think it was a little bit more of like having a video game system. It was like when I had a Game Boy. So they like to play some of those games, but sometimes I'd find them face down, battery was dead for 2 days. But I liked them to have it because I really liked, as they were going out to friends' houses in the neighborhood, I liked the tracking aspect.
Yep, that was the justification.
We had enough features in there where I think there was 7 family members on their friends list. So if you tried to call my kid's number, it immediately just said, you've dialed someone whose voicemail is not set up. Nobody could call them unless we had input that number in there. So we had a lot of that safety. in place, but I could know where they were at. So, they're kids. We were all kids. I could see where they're at, but they were like, yeah, we like to play. I think it was Pokemon Go. That's what it was.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that was a popular one for a while.
There wasn't like any type of attachment to it. They weren't on social media. They're not on social media. That's not anything that they're using it for. But
yeah, I've been successful in that regard.
For me, it was the where are they at? Make sure they're where they're supposed to be kind of a thing in the neighborhood. And now that they're teenagers, I like knowing where they're at. So yeah,
even my son, who's going to be 20 later this year, having the ability to know his comings and goings with that, so much nicer than, especially when it's weird hours for his work sometimes and all the stuff. There's some practical things that are really useful for this. But going back to our upbringings and the age that we were at, I think what I also appreciated most was the slower pace of, world news and other things. It didn't come at us with the rapid fire intensity that the world sees things right now. That slower pace, like it was a newspaper. It was probably a day old or many hours old anyways, by the time we were getting, and they had the funny pages and they were actually funny back then. Cartoons, like who goes on the web to go look up a comic strip anymore? I mean, it's just not the same.
We're just doom scrolling for memes these days. That's what we're doing. That took place. That's an interesting point that you bring up because 24-hour news and news having to come at us all the time, because there's so much of it, I think it loses its importance.
Yes.
So I do recognize in order to get those ratings and get those clicks and get those views, I'm saying we, like I'm in the news industry, they have to amp it up. Everything has to seem more important. Remember when the word epic was really hitting? It's going to be epic. And I'm like, going through the car wash is going to be epic. Everything had to be bigger, brighter, better. And I feel like news is that way and it cycles so quick. So I like what you said. Did you say the slow burn? Is that what you said?
Yeah, something like that.
Taking something in, being able to process it, think about it for a couple of days as being the big world event.
We mentioned this with news, but think about the phone call element too. If the phone rang in your home, it wasn't always a junk call back then. Like it was usually not. There were some, not to the intensity there is now. Shoot, dude, I don't know about you, but today I get a phone number coming across my phone that I don't recognize from my area code. It's like spam, 100% sure of it. Won't even answer it.
And now it just tells you potential spam. And I've had potential spam be the vet call us to let us know that the dog is supposed to go on the next to the dentist. I'm like, oh, it got tagged as potential spam.
But a call meant something. And I think that was, there was an expectation for important communication to happen because this thing on the wall rang. And someone else mentioned to me the other day is like, wasn't it so great? Like when your kids' friends called and they had to call the house phone first, they got intercepted, usually by the parent. And you had a chance to talk to your kids' friends right then on that moment. Like my mom used to love that. It's just, oh, hey. So it's like, Mom, give me the friend. Some of them actually really enjoyed talking to my mom too. So it's like, come on.
We were having some conversation we have amongst family and friends. And I was just talking about, man, I remember in high school, if you liked someone, you had to go up and you had to ask for their phone number for their house and they had to write it down. I said, you had to build up some guts to go have that conversation. How am I going to say it? Then you had that little piece of paper. And then when you called to talk to them, exactly what you said, you had to get past the parents. Who are you? My name is Darren. I'm a young man that goes to the same high school as your daughter. Can I talk to her, please? Like you had to have that respect. Like you had to get past the gatekeeper. So that was always a fun one. And I think about that and I'm like, just to have that confidence to be able to go to communicate on something like that that's fun and innocent when you're younger, but also these things that later, whatever it is, to have to go speak in front of a judge or give public presentations. There were all these little pieces where we had to build up the courage and practice to go do the little things that now is as simple as search their name, find their Snapchat, shoot them a thing and keep it very, obviously you're talking person to person, but it's so distanced. It's not true person to person communication. And just the struggle that we had to go through to be able to have that connection and have those conversations. We had to jump over some hills back then.
We did. And I think that those hills were looked at as problems. And now we look back at them as good problems.
Yes. Learning experiences.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to start to sound like I know this is happening already. I can feel it happening to me, Dennis. I'm turning into a curmudgeon on some of this stuff.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's like, crap. It was so much better back then. Now I'm that guy. Of course. Doesn't every generation do this?
Yeah, and it's okay. My 12-year-old is the one that will point out to me, like I'll say how it was back, when we were younger in their age, and my 12-year-old go, back in my day. He'll throw that expression at me. And I say, yeah, I am becoming my father and I am becoming my grandfather. It is what it is. Yeah.
The top shops in the industry don't stop at one location. At the Institute, we work with shop owners who want to expand, whether it's opening a second shop, acquiring new businesses, or building systems for long-term growth. Some of our clients are aiming for hundreds of shops, and we're helping them get there. Ready to scale? To get started, visit wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this: timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Are you tired of juggling multiple tools to manage your auto repair shop? Say goodbye to the chaos and hello to the streamlined efficiency with AutoLeap, the #1 all-in-one auto repair shop management software. With AutoLeap, you can sell more, save precious time, and delight your customers with every interaction. How? By harnessing the power of cutting-edge technology that brings you real-time actionable insights. From scheduling appointments to creating estimates, generating invoices, managing technicians, and seamlessly syncing with QuickBooks to keep your records updated, AutoLeap does it all for you. Visit AutoLeap.com and book a demo today. Ready to boost your auto repair shop success? ShopDog Marketing is here to help you. We put customers first using AI to create standout content that ranks. Harness the power of mobile-first and voice search and let our expert team help you sweeten your revenue with more car count. ShopDog Marketing offers a free guide on using AI to drive more repair orders. Get your guide today and watch your auto repair shop thrive. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Every professional auto repair shop needs a trusted communication partner. At Inbound, our established VoIP platform is backed by years of industry experience, guarantees reliable connections, and is combined with cutting-edge AI-powered analytics. We deliver actionable insights that support your business growth. With Inbound, you get more than just calls. You get a smarter, more efficient operation. Get Inbound on your team today and see how we can transform your business. Visit callinbound.com. I was also watching a musical the other day that really brought me back. A musical, actually, called Come From Away. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
It was the first Broadway production that they put back into Broadway after COVID was easing up. And there's a video of it. It's actually on Apple TV now, if you go and look it up. And it's about the story on September 11th, 2001, when the planes were grounded. The flights had to go into wherever they were at. It was an immediate closure of the U.S. airspace. So flights coming across there were landing in this particular town in Newfoundland. Had all of a sudden, I think it was 38 planes that had to land there. It tripled the population of this small town. And the story of the Canadian hospitality on there. By the way, a quick note, odd time in history where there's some weird tension in the U.S. and Canada. I'll just say this is such a heartwarming story of how amazing our Canadian neighbors are. And perfect reason to go and listen to this music right now is to listen to this and just feel the love. Because those people rose to the challenge of taking care of all these people coming in on these planes. And there's so many challenges that came with it from a communication standpoint too. But think back to that era, 2001. How old were you then? You were a senior in high school, or had you graduated already? I
was a freshman at San Diego State at the time.
Okay, so first year of college. Yeah. So I was a senior in high school, right? So just a little behind you there. And it was the beginning of that school year when this had occurred. What do you remember about the technology from that time period, specifically on cell phone technology in 2001?
So I had a StarTAC Motorola cell phone, and it was probably turned off and in the drawer in my apartment because it was based out of Santa Rosa. I was in San Diego, and we had roaming charges back then. So if I used that thing,
it was very not useful in many ways, right?
Yeah. So actually, I had a cell phone, but I was buying calling cards from Costco at the time to call back home and that type of stuff. So yeah, it wasn't like everybody was calling me right away. I think I probably talked to my parents, probably called them with the calling card on my landline, 8 o'clock that night. So I don't know if I actually carried a cell phone with me at the time, to be honest with you.
Or it would be that flip phone with the extra battery and the antenna, right?
It was probably turned off because it only had about 6 hours of battery life and a 60-minute talk time. Yeah.
Yeah. And what struck me is this came up in that musical that, all right, these planes are landing. These people had no information coming to them, no access to a cell tower with all the news being able to come in, no text messages flowing into a whole bunch of phones with pictures or anything like that. They're in a place they don't even know where. The few people who even did have those basic cell phones had no signal, couldn't get a message out. This realization of this in that historical moment and what importance that played, definitely check out that musical, dude. It's a hoot. It reminded me of so many things, but then there's language barriers and all sorts of other things, and they didn't have a lot of solutions for it. There's one point in the musical where they're like, a guy is literally taking some people from Africa, took their Bible, used the number system to point to a verse to try to encourage them not to be anxious. It was like a verse in Philippians or something like that. It was really a precious scene. I had forgotten, Darren, the fact, like looking back that many years, don't forget 9/11, no one does. In my memory, somehow, it's like, oh yeah, smartphones did not exist at that moment. It has changed my memory of it. Is just, it needed that refresher of that time period, the technology gap that we have, because our ability to communicate in that time was really lousy.
I remember hearing about what happened. I was in my first or second class. I think I had 7:30, 8 a.m. classes. Yeah. And I think it was the second class. Somebody said something about, did you hear about the bombing that happened? Like, this is how slow it was coming in. And we're sitting there and they said, yeah, I heard the Pentagon got bombed. And I was in my whatever writing skills class it was, and I'm like, oh, the Pentagon got bombed? Like, oh, that's strange, whatever. And just then going to my next class and then going home to eat my lunch and then everything. And like, I don't know if I had the news on. I usually would have turned on like Sports Center, which everything got taken over on TV and they were talking about what happened. Tried to go to my later classes and they were letting everybody know, and there was announcements going that everybody go back home. School's been canceled. We don't know what's going on. There's this, we could be in danger, go home. And I remember hopping on my skateboard and riding the half-mile back down to my apartment like, oh, I guess I'm off school today, and not really understanding the scope of what happened. But I also think about what you said. Think about if that happened today and it did something and nobody had cell phone reception and they were in those same positions. The anxiety and the panic that would grow from not being able to have our cell phone, where back then, I'm sure there was panic about what was going on, but it wasn't heightened to a point of, I can't text 60 different people in a group chat right now. Like, that lack of ability to communicate that we've come to rely on, I don't think that was a factor back then. It's like, well, hey, we got to make sure we're safe. We're looking at the necessities first rather than communicating on a second by second basis with as many people as we can.
Yeah, and I think you hit on something that is absolutely what's causing me some concern about this easy access to constant connectivity, this constant level of communication when it's suddenly not there, or even temporarily not there. And this is true in plenty of studies with kids. Take away their phone, instant anxiety. Compound that with a crisis event, and oh boy, that would be a real mess. Today, I feel like our generation has some insulation from this because we understand, at least recall, or can probably slip back into some patterns of communication and a pace of communication that isn't completely foreign to us. I think we'll all be able to adjust eventually, but that's a really serious problem for today's generation. We've given this technology, we think it's solving all these problems. Is it making this generation more well-equipped as communicators? I don't think so. I think it's made it so casual. And my opinions on this are really challenged on a lot of things. I can recognize all the good very easily and advocate for them. Shoot, I'm in a technology business where the speed of technology and the efficiency and the trust and transparency it can make is very important. And then on the other side.
And I recognize this, and I've tried to pull back from it myself. Whenever we're talking about something, I don't know, if I'm sitting there with my son and we're talking about basketball and like, when did Michael Jordan do this? When did Kobe Bryant do that? And if there's a little bit of a discussion back and forth, we both grab our phone. Hey, Siri, when did Kobe Bryant hit the 13 threes in one game? And it's like, oh, it was that date. And the discussion's over. Remember when we used to like be around a campfire at the dinner table and we're like, no. So I think what you say, like, I think, we're probably better equipped to argue, and maybe not argue, but to debate and think back on our memories to bring them forward as facts and assertions as we're trying to have a debate, whether it's about something, the way it went down, when it happened, a way of thinking, rather than let's just go to Siri or let's go to Gemini or let's go to ChatGPT, and they will be judge and jury, and it's end of story. And then we go, okay, now what do you want to talk about? I like the arguments and debates. And
my wife and I always joke, like when we're watching, we used to go down to Florida with like her parents and stay in the house and watch old movies sometimes. And her dad has this thing where, okay, who's this actor from? And like, you have to pause it and you have to figure out who that actor was and where they played. And it's a conversation that has to go. Now you do that on an Amazon Prime movie and you just click the button, find the actor, click the actor, and it lists all the stuff. You get back to the show a lot quicker.
I do the same thing. I'm like, what was that guy from? And I'll do it. I'm IMDb, whatever it is. I look and I go, oh, there it is. Where there's sometimes where I go, no, I want to work my brain a little bit. I'm going to think about this. Yeah.
Yes. It's such a good mental exercise. And that I think that's something that I feel like we have to do that. And then how happy you feel when you solve it.
Meanwhile, my kids are looking at me like, who cares? And I'm like, I care. I figured it out. Yeah, that's really funny.
It was good. My brain worked. Shoot, I like it when I can still recall the phone number for my best friend in high school, and I can in a drop of a second because I had to dial that thing.
That's right. You know what I remember? Certain phone numbers. I can almost remember my best friend Jason's phone number, not by the number, but by the motions that my thumb moved to dial it. I probably couldn't get it right, but I remember where my thumb went. I remember it made a design as you went and dialed the phone number. So those little things, I remembered it by design. Now, if I had to write it back then, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, but I knew where my thumbs went. Yep.
And this is the reality of technology. As we grow up with it, I feel like we adjust with it, and we still had some of those strengths that we pulled into it. And this is the defining thing for this generation, I feel. It's like we appreciated the slow. We developed some really good abilities. We could do research in a library.
Yeah. Oh, I was just talking to my kids about encyclopedias about a week or 2 weeks ago, and they're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Not Wikipedia, encyclopedias. I remember when it was digitized even, and you could at least search things, and there was videos that could be going along with that. Like, oh my gosh, that was amazing too. And Carta, I think, was one of those first ones.
I remember my first computer. We had the discs, and I think there was 7 total videos on that encyclopedia. One of them was JFK saying we go to the moon, and I would watch that over and over because we only had 7 videos available to watch on this encyclopedia. And then they would, send you a flyer in the mail. It's time to get this year's encyclopedia, so it's updated like that. That was a thing.
Did you remember in school, did your teachers ever give you this for the bibliography portion of a research paper that you have to write? Never mind, no AI to help you write it at all, right? So the bibliography, they said you can use online search for one of your references. They throttled us back from it. They wanted us to go into the books, into the libraries.
I think we got told we could use no online sources, if I'm remembering.
Oh, there was a phase of that too.
Yeah. So I didn't even have the internet in our home until I was a sophomore in high school, I think. So we could go use one of the 4 computers in the library. But I remember that was the thing. No internet sources available. No internet sources allowed. Like we had to go get physical books. And that was probably, I can't remember. I don't know if that was all through high school. I can't imagine it would have been all through high school. My workaround was if I could find an actual text that was cited online, I could then just cite the original text, even though I was getting it from online. So that was my crafty little high school workaround, if I remember right.
Generationally, I think that ability to hit a barrier, dive deeper past it, not just taking a surface level thing at the first thing that you find and going past that to find a real primary source. I remember in college, they were pumping this out too, like primary sources for historical things, not just some opinion piece on some news channel or some Reddit thread. You go deep, and that ability to go deep into stuff is now compromised. I'm observing this. I'm reading a great book right now, Stolen Focus. Carm Capriato put this to me, Stolen Focus by Johan Hari. And our ability to focus and go deep, all of us, adults and the next generation, is being altered by the technological devices and alerts and notifications and that speed of which things are bombarding us now. It is changing, it is hurting, it is harming our actual ability to concentrate, focus, and get past surface level things and go and focus deep again. And that's scary to me.
I believe we can only take in so much information in a day before our brains are exhausted and we can't remember it anymore.
I always refer to it as brain calories, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think as we can interact with our friends, our family, our coworkers, we go to work, but then also as we hop on the internet and we read, sports news, political news, world news, and we're also reading the funny memes, and then we're checking it on social media. Eventually, like, there was so much in a day. How do we have the memories of the good times that we maybe spent with our family members and friends? Like, there's too much coming at us. And I feel like a lot of it just kind of falls by the wayside and gets forgotten to a degree. I mean, I could be totally off.
I don't think you are. My alarm bells are ringing every time I'm at a family gathering. We're having a great conversation. And I've become very, very disciplined with my own mobile device. I have notifications silent pretty much all the time. They're just not on. And I also don't consume TikTok or a great deal. I'll see reels and things on Facebook, but I don't absorb a lot of videos, and I also don't share them. But what do you see at family gatherings is like, did you see this one with this guy that did this thing? And then they want to show you the video. And that's how we're communicating now on something that's interesting or going on. And we're having, all right, cool. At least we're looking at one screen and a shared experience. And I've learned to just embrace that with the folks that are into these things. That's all fine. I don't want to sound like it's judgy, but on the same token, what have you been up to, right? Other than consuming these things and being entertained by them, what's going on?
Tell me about the kids. Tell me, how's work going? All this type of stuff. Hey, you got any vacations coming up in the summertime? Those types of conversations. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I like what you say. Hey, accept it, go through it, and then move on to the next step. And it's funny as you say it, like the videos. America's Funniest Home Videos is still on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, that was the only thing. That was TikTok of our era.
Yes, exactly. Did you see the one where the kangaroo hit the guy? Like, oh, it's really funny. Now, we go through our spurts, but my wife is good about, let's sit down and watch this together. And we watch it live with commercials. And it's hard to get everybody together for it. It's, I don't know, lately, wintertime, whatever. But we'll go through these where we watch this and commercial time, we get to laugh. And then, you see the video and then you get to see who wins and that whole contest type approach to it. I mean, that's what we enjoyed when we were kids. And my kids tend to get a kick out of it, but it is a little bit of that family time. We laugh together and we get a break with the commercials, which I still appreciate.
You find the balance. You have to. The main takeaway of all this technology and stuff, and you have to really set some boundaries for yourself for this, is what I'm learning to do in my own life and trying like heck to encourage my teenagers to do as well, is that balance. And I think it's true in our businesses too. I feel like there's a tipping point where you can just bombard people with more information than they can consume. The brain calories expire rapidly. My friend Jeremy Glasgow, we had a conversation on this too. He's brilliant. He always referred to the marketing things. We worked with our marketing team for a while, and like, it has to be simple, it has to be digestible. People have crack brains today, he'll say. Yep. And you have to be able to engage that crack brain now, because it's like, that's it. The attention spans, blip, 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 everything distracting you all the time. Oh my gosh.
Even when people are at work, there's notifications going on. And I got to tell you, one thing that I did that has helped me is I finally took the time to figure out how to go into my phone and turn off notifications. I don't need to know that Instacart is running a 10% discount today because I don't even use Instacart, but it's just something pops up and I was finding this need to be like, what is this? Instacart has a 10% coupon. I don't even use Instacart, but it stopped me. It distracted me. I lost my way and my focus. Turn a lot of that stuff off is a big help.
I really think it's smart, Darren. They got the button of one good thing Apple ever did. One good thing I'll grant them. Is that button, you silence it. It goes red, and I'm guaranteed that phone is not going to distract me. It'll do a little vibration. Certain individuals that I favorite can get through it. I'll hear it. This thing is not going to dominate things for me. It just won't let it. I just won't let it.
You know, I've been thinking about this for many years. A friend of mine, Andy Crowley, brought up one time, and I don't know how we got on it, but it was this idea. And he said, we're the same age. He's probably a couple years older than me. He says, I feel like we were born at the perfect time. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I just feel like we're old enough to remember old school hard work and a little bit of struggle to get the info we needed. But we were also young enough to be able to really embrace this at a young enough age where we could really pick it up and be very savvy at a lot of the new technology. And I thought about it when he said that, and I'm like, yeah. And he was saying, I don't know that we're millennials or Gen Xers. It's like, we're just right at that point where like we rented videos, but we were still young enough to understand and remember our passwords so we could get into our streaming platforms and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, there's something to that. And I've always believed that. So I think that's when that image popped up, I'm like, this is what we were talking about. This is a real thing.
We were at the edge of a moment. That phrase will come up in that music will come from away as well, but that edge of a moment. And that is very much a defining moment, this transition into technology. So I think that sums it up brilliantly there, Darren. I guess I would ask you this, though, too. You mentioned one thing that you've done to provide balance in this, and I think this is very symptomatic of our generation experiencing both things. What else do you think you would encourage your kids on in order to find this balance with technology?
It's hard to do, but I do find myself sometimes, you know, you think about having your cell phone in your hand. It's to the point now where like we can adjust our thermostats with it. We can turn the lights on our house. We can open our garages with it. So I feel what I get stuck with is I don't want the notifications. I don't want that, but I feel this need to have it with me because I could turn the patio lights on and off if I'm outside. If I'm outside and I have the keys, I can hit and open the front door and open the garage and all these things. So it's like, I have to have this on me, but sometimes I go, you know what? It is possible just to carry my keys or to adjust this. I could go to the thermostat. So just having to almost break that. And you do have to, break it and put it away. And I hate to say it, but I think sometimes with kids, you have to give them a little glimpse into it. Like, you know, if it comes along with punishment, I hate to say it's like, hey, you were taking your phone for a week and we're going to have it. And it's like, sometimes I see that breaks that gets them more in tune, that gets them back to watching America's Funniest Videos with us, those types of things. So I'll just tell you, I don't have the answer on that, but I think it's important to find little tips that you can get that are realistic for them.
Yeah, I feel like every parent I talk to, no one's cracked the code at all, but we all have some collective understanding. And I think it will take a collective response over time and more.
What I recognize is it's like we try to walk this fine line of not having them get sucked into that. But also if we take it away from them, you got to remember like their group of friends, they're all still doing it. And do they feel left out? And then do they resent you as a parent because now I've got FOMO of my friends? Now I don't experience that with my children, but I can understand it. You have to balance that. That's what's normal for them, but it can't become a reliance. So again, the algorithm to figuring that out, let me know when you figure it out, man.
I think over time, a lot of answers will come to light on this stuff. I think the next generation, I think it is fair to say, and I let me ask if you agree with this here as we close out this conversation. We'll have to have some more on some other stuff too, man. I love talking with you. I feel that this next generation is potentially going to recognize the pitfalls of technology on their own in their consequences and could swing the other direction. I think we're seeing it with some Gen Zers opting for those old flip phones.
I've recognized, you know, my oldest one, you know, we moved, we're in a different area and the neighborhood we're in, he is outside a lot more. He wants to be out on his bike. And it's like all of a sudden we've got away from video games and wanting to do this type of stuff because he wants to be out and about and amongst his friends, face-to-face conversations, experiences. And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So I think it can swing back. I think they may sit in this spot, earlier teenagers. And then when they get out, maybe out on their own and they get to, I don't know, when he gets his license, I can go drive anywhere I want. That's crazy. I'm like, yeah, that's life. Like you can go to the park, go play tennis. So I don't know. And I say I don't know because I haven't seen my kids live it all the way through yet. How old is your oldest?
My oldest will be 20 in September.
Yeah, so you're further along than me. So you've probably seen some of that. So you may have more belief that you think it'll swing than maybe I do.
In some ways. But then I see when my kids have their friends over or that other thing, sometimes you'll see the group of kids sitting there and they're all looking at their phones, sitting together.
And they all laugh together at the same time. And you're like, is this something I said? Oh, no. They're in a group chat sitting in the same room. What is going on here?
Or just having their own individual experiences together, which is so odd.
They want to play a video game together. Now, in our day, we could play NBA Jam together, 4-player in the same room. They're like, oh, we want to play Fortnite.
All remote controls plugged into the same thing, though, for us to play together. GoldenEye 64, buddy. Come on.
Yeah. GoldenEye for sure. Now, their version of GoldenEye is Fortnite, and they all have to leave and go to their house to go to their own screen because it does not encourage them to be together. They need to be apart for their own screen, for their own headset. And I'm like, what used to be inclusive and get together is now you got to stay away from each other and just communicate through your headset. It's a little bit weird.
It is weird. There are some elements of that virtual thing that have become easier to have a shared experience in a digital realm. We were talking about this before we started recording with on-site trainings or on-site visits in a repair shop, as our roles will typically have us do this on occasion. I find it easier to demonstrate software when I'm screen sharing on a virtual meeting, as opposed to shoulder to shoulder with somebody using the same mouse and keyboard and pointing at a screen. And sometimes,
yeah, that makes perfect sense. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's just the way it is in the busy environments and all the things. Sometimes that's just the way it is. I don't know. I think you give them the options, people will continue to take it. And I think occasionally we just get out of balance, take them too far. And I think that our generation, I will say it, I feel like we get it. We understood life didn't suck before. It was really actually quite great. And this stuff, it doesn't suck. It's good stuff. It can be quite great, but we have to keep that balance between the two so we don't tip into the side of abuse. I think it can be abused.
I hope what I recognize almost seems to be this nostalgia resurrection that I recognize lately. I mean, I now see CDs and vinyls in Target again. I hope that sparks interest from a younger generation to look at what we had and embrace it. And I think it's happening. My oldest one said to me, he goes, what grade were you in 1999? I said, well, I was a sophomore and then was a junior. He goes, I would love to be in high school in 1999. That was the perfect time to be in He's not even in high school yet. He goes, that's the perfect time to be a teenager. I'm like, well, how do you know? He goes, I just know. The music was better. The clothes were better. He's all about it. Jean Co's and Limp Bizkit. That was life,
Oh, man. Right there back, man. That was in the CD sleeve. You know it was.
Oh, man.
Gosh, those were good days. Good days. My brother and I were the only ones with jobs in those that really of significance. So when our friends got together, we would be driving to Best Buy. We're the ones buying the CDs that we would later burn for our friends to copy.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
And we had to drive to Best Buy with them. We're cruising around. Those are the days.
And that was part of the fun. Let's drive there. Is it going to be in stock? I don't know. Now it's like same day delivery. Boom. Next. There's no satisfaction from those.
No, it's all
purchases.
Subscribed. And do you want to share playlist?
Yeah.
Done.
We had it good, man. We had it really good.
We had it good. I think we're going to keep having it good as long as we keep it that way. I very much appreciate the thought-provoking conversations that you always provide. I love your perspective, dude. We're going to have to talk on some more things.
I love doing this with you. Yep. A lot of fun. Anytime, man.
No, it's such a great conversation. Hey, and everyone, thanks for joining us on this. I hope this brought some of you down to memory lane, got you thinking a little about what technology was like, even what it's like to be at the edge of the moment we're on now as we're about to tip over into AI era. Oh, what this is going to bring. Oh, boy, we will see. Thank you so much for listening. And please don't forget, check out the other shows on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Carm Capriato's Remarkable Results Radio, in particular, the podcast that started all the podcasts in this remarkable industry. And then there's Matt Fonzo. He's really not a jerk. He acts like one sometimes, but it's mostly for humor, I think. But check out his podcast, Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z. He's a hoot. You're going to love him. Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest. Hey, if accounting's not your thing, it's not mine. Hunt, he likes numbers. He makes them fun. I think you can probably learn from Hunt. If you like having fun and you don't like numbers, you'll see it's different with him. Brian and Kim Walker also have the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. Brilliant marketers, wonderful people, industry power couple. Totally cool that they're my friends. I can't believe it. They're just nice. And Coach Chris Cotton with his Weekly Blitz. The Weekly Blitz, you can tune in for quick tips from a remarkable coach. Chris Cotton's an amazing dude as well. And hey, thanks again to our sponsors. Thank you all for joining us. And now get out there, speak up, but first listen up. And hey, don't be afraid to look back a little bit and find that balance. See you next time.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.